From the banks of Dewey Lake, it's the Dewey Pod Monster.
All right, welcome back. My name is John, and this is the Dewey Pod Monster Podcast. This is your weekly podcast about holiday consumption. We are, of course, proud members of the You Run Podcast Network. You can find all of our old episodes, all of our upcoming episodes, and all the other fabulous members of the You Run Podcast Network at yourunpodcast.com. With me this week is just the happiest little elf that I've ever seen on this side of the Mississippi. His name is Sean, and he's so glad that is the Christmas season because of all the wonderful movies we have coming up to talk about over this holiday season. Sean, how are you today?
John, nobody moves, nobody dies. Guess what this is? Can you guess? Can you guess what this episode is? Guess.
200?
200. How did you know that? Did I tell you it was 200?
No, I know it's been coming up, though. I'm kind of disappointed that episode 200 is, you know, when we hit 100, we did The Thing. It's this great classic movie. We both love it. Kind of everyone, it's universally praised.
Are you sure
now
about
we get
that?
to 200. 100% sure on that. Because we made a point of making that.
I thought we did Chopping Mall again for episode 100.
Oh, shit. You're right.
Man.
We did do Chopping Mall again. We did The Thing for 50 then?
I don't know.
Either way. My point is we're taking a pretty... Yeah, we are not going to have fun tonight. At least not, well, the prep wasn't as fun. But before we get into that, Sean, what have you been watching? Or what do you want to talk about this week? What kind of bullshit is going on in your little neck of the woods?
I'm going to start with the worst first. That's my motto for this week. That's why we're doing the movie that we're talking about today. It's the first week of the Christmas of the December Christmas movie.
Get it over with.
Yeah,
take your medicine.
Rip the Band-Aid off. So I'm going to start with a movie that I watched. It was a documentary. Well, let me get into that. It is called Winners Tape All: The Henderson Brothers Story. And I went into this
Winners Tape. Tape.
Tape.
Okay.
Look for it in the show notes.
Just making sure I heard it right.
Yes.
So, I don't have show notes
Tape
yet, so.
All: The Henderson Brothers Story. And I mistakenly thought this was a documentary, and it wasn't. It's a mockumentary about two stepbrothers who make VHS horror films in a small Virginia town. And it starts off with like a guy who's, you know, he's into like B movies and VHS and stuff. And he finds this store that has VHS movies for rent. And he goes and he picks one up. And he's like, oh my God, this is so great. He picks two up and he's like, these are so great. And he goes to return them and the store is like totally closed. It's almost like it never existed. And I didn't know this was a mockumentary. Well, that's what he said. He said, I might be the only person with these two copies of these movies in existence. And then it kind of goes and you get introduced to the Henderson brothers and you quickly figure out that it's, you know, it's a mockumentary. And I have to say, when I know something's a mockumentary and I go into it, I'm fine with that. That's not a problem. But I like to know ahead of time that it's a mockumentary. When I feel like they're trying, maybe they're not doing a good job and it feels like they're kind of insulting my intelligence with how stupid it is, that pisses me off. So needless to say, Winners Tape All: The Henderson Brothers Story really started to piss me off and bothered me. It's not that it's not like an interesting kind of story. It's just not very good. It's not, they try to go kind of funny and it's just not.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Do you know, I know it doesn't sound like you went into it knowing it was a mockumentary. Do you know, was it presented like originally as a mockumentary or I just found it on Tubi and I was like, okay, this will be something to watch. You know, like I guess I didn't do my due diligence going in. It wasn't something that I had planned out. Like, man, I'm going to watch this. This sounds really cool. I love to watch I love to watch documentaries about VHS. I do like that, but I like when they're documentaries, when they're mockumentaries. There was one, I forget what it was called. It was on Netflix and it was about the kid who like spray painted penises all over the cars in the high school parking lot. Do you remember that one? No.
That presented as a little bit more of a believable documentary, but it was a mockumentary. Everybody raved about how great that one was. I didn't really like that either. So it probably says a little bit more about me than it says about, you know, people just trying to make a movie for people to watch, you know?
Yeah, I'm fine with mockumentary too, but like you, I agree. You kind of need to know that going in. I will say, if you're going to do it though, I think it's way better if you try to play it straight and it just turns into something ridiculous.
Yeah.
as opposed, well, I guess maybe the exception would be Dewey Cox, because that's pretty ridiculous for the most part. But it almost works better if you have that, like, well, it doesn't matter. None of this matters. So
fuck it.
What else is going on?
Trash. All right. So after that, I watched a movie also on Tubi called Maximum Breakout. And I think it's AIP, the people who did like Deadly Prey. I think they did Aerobicide, that whole group, like Ted Pryor's in this movie.
Quality.
It's got a lot of the same kind of cast members, or at least a few people from Deadly Prey and Aerobicide. So this movie starts off like right off the bat. These two, boyfriend and girlfriend, basically, they're driving in some kind of remote area, almost I'd say like urban desert kind of situation, like a New Mexico or something, kind of out in the open. And they get confronted with somebody that's laying down on a motorcycle, like they had an accident, and the woman gets abducted and the guy gets beat up and he's kind of left for dead. And as you do. And it goes along, and like 6 months later, he's been looking for her this whole time. And 6 months later, his friend gets out of jail, and they're going to form a posse. And the guy that gets out of jail, the friend, is going to round up all these other people that he knows. So the movie kind of goes where they're going to get this posse together and they're going to search for this girl. And they don't really quite know where she is. Supposedly the boyfriend, the male that got beat up, he's been searching all over the country. He doesn't have a job. He's just going to all these places trying to find out information about his girlfriend. And he gets this posse together. He goes to her parents' house and he's like, I'm going to find her. I think her name's Billy or something. I don't remember what her name is at this point, but I'm going to find her. I'm going to bring her back because they think that she's dead. The movie, I'm going to go ahead and spoil this. It's not very good. Like I said, from worst to best, worst to first, they uncover like a human trafficking ring in the midst of trying to find this girl. It sounds way more exciting. I think I'm probably putting a way more exciting spin on this turd than what it actually is. It's actually not very good. It's not really even that entertaining. It's one of those movies where you're like, I want to watch this. I've been looking forward to watching this. And you get into it, and it's just so uninteresting that you find yourself kind of scrolling through your phone and looking up every once in a while just because there's nothing happening. It's one of those. So that's called Maximum Breakout. Maybe don't go and watch that. And then there is a really funny clip that I'm going to try and put up on Blue Sky that I found in the movie, but I'll leave that for Blue Sky. Check me out. I'm at internalbleeding.craft.town. And then the last movie that I'm going to talk about, it's still not very good, but it's better than the other two. And because we talked about Billy Drago a couple weeks back during Invasion USA. There is a movie that I've had on my radar for quite a while. It's called Death Ring, and it has Billy Drago as the main villain, of course, because that's probably what he's best at, being a scumbag. And it's kind of like a Most Dangerous Game knockoff, where Mike Norris, you may know that last name, Mike Norris is the son of Chuck Norris, and he is a guy who... he's like an ex-Green Beret, of course, and him and his girlfriend, fiance, get abducted, and they hold her against her will, and basically say, hey, if you don't do what we say to do, we're going to kill her. And they invite all these, rough and tumble hunters to come and basically snuff him out. Chad McQueen is also in this movie, which we talked about in that, I don't remember what that movie was called, that piece of shit movie where they're like pit fighting, remember? Him and his friend, they're like pit fighting in...
Fatal Deviation?
No, not Fatal Deviation. That was just a couple weeks ago. This is like earlier this year.
Firepower?
Yes, Firepower. That's it.
With Ultimate Warrior?
Yes, with Ultimate Warrior. You got it. So I'll leave a link to that show if you want to go listen back to that, if you want to hear the exploits of Chad McQueen. But anyways, Mike Norris is a Green Beret. He wins a race, like a triathlon, a survival of the fittest triathlon race, and that puts him on the radar of Billy Drago. They abduct him and they want him to run the race so that he can be hunted by these hunters that pay a lot of money, kind of like Surviving the Game almost a little bit. And I've seen this guy in movies, but I couldn't tell you a movie that I've seen him in. This also features Don Swayze, brother of Patrick Swayze. He makes an appearance for quite a while.
He got everyone's brother they just got all the, it's like the Expendables, but all the brothers of the Expendables.
Nepotism, expenditism. Yeah, we got Chad McQueen, we've got Don Swayze, we've got Mike Norris. It's a trifecta of greatness. So that one was actually
what about Bobby Trejo?
No, Bobby Trejo's not in it. We don't have, God, what is Martin Sheen's
Emilio
brother?
Estevez?
No, his brother. His brother, Martin Sheen's brother. I can't, was it like
Sheen's
Don
brother?
Estevez or something? Anyways.
Something like that, yeah.
He's not in that, but he should be. So that was probably the best of the three things that I watched. I didn't.
Ooh, how about Brian Doyle Murray?
He is not in the movie. I can confidently say that he is not in Death Ring. But, as always, all these things, if you're willing to, I don't know, self-flagellate yourself, this will be in the show notes. You can watch them if you'd like or don't. But yeah, they'll be in the show notes. John, what did you get a chance to watch? Hopefully it was something a little bit better than what I've gotten a chance to watch.
I think it is. Before we get to that, I want to say, for those listening, we got a response on this last time we tried it. If you can tell us how many movies we've talked about that have had a pit fight in it, let us know. Send us a comment in the social media, because I can think of at least 3 off the top of my head, but I'd have to really go through our episodes and see if there's more than that.
Yeah.
There's 3 off the top of my head I can think of.
You do 200 episodes, they start to kind of blend together after a while.
Sometimes, especially when they're all about pit fighting and wrestlers and, pieces of shit pitchmen that happen to get into movies. So for me, I'm going to start with the music thing. Sean's already heard me talk his ear off about this while he was looking at a train, but I went and saw one of my favorite bands again this week. It was the band Codefendents. We did a full episode covering their first album, which I don't believe has been taken down yet. Would not be taken down by us, be taken down by some assholes that are assholes.
The powers that be.
That's the case.
Damn the man.
Right. So I don't think that has been taken down. Assuming it is, I'm sure Sean will link it in the notes. But I've seen this band probably 5 times now, something like that, just over the course of their 3-year run thus far. I've seen them in small venues. I've seen them in big venues. This time I saw them in the back of a bowling alley that also had an arcade, a tattoo parlor, some kind of restaurant. And it was in the middle of nowhere, just in a strip mall. And it's one of the best shows I've seen in my entire life. Like it was such a weird, unique show. The circumstance, I'm not going to go into all the circumstances as to how and why they were there, because it's a boring story, but just seeing 2 guys that can just make so much with so little and do a really good job with it. If they're anywhere within like a comfortable drive, they're worth seeing. I know Sean went and saw him once with me, and I don't think he was pissed off at it, so that's good. If you can't get out to see them, like, you can find all their music on YouTube for free. They're on Instagram. That's Codefendants _legal_fund underscores between all of them. They're absolutely worth a follow. I don't care what genre you listen to. These guys change it up so much that it is, I'm not saying everyone in the world will like it. There's definitely some subject matter that might not appeal to some, but I think musically, I think they have a song for just about everyone that you could find some enjoyment in, at least until they start talking. And for me, again, that's nothing but positive on the lyric side too, but I could see how that might not be, for everyone. But yeah, can't recommend them enough. In my opinion, they're probably the best like working band out there right now. Go see them if you can. On the watch side, I don't think I tortured myself quite as much as you did this week, but I definitely didn't watch highbrow entertainment. Do you want the newer movie first or the older movie first?
Give me the older first. I like him a little older.
So
Cougars.
The first one I watched then, well, that's coming up in the newer movie. So I watched The Ratman, which is from 1988. The Ratman is on Tubi. It is very like loose synopsis of it is, I'm going to say it my way because it's just better this way. The producers find a little guy who happened to be in James Bond movies, so he's a little bit recognizable. They painted him brown and put a cardigan sweatshirt on him backwards so you couldn't see his chest and called him a rat man. And basically they just tuck him under piles of clothes in closets and have him attack half-naked, attractive women kind of throughout the course of the movie. Is it good? No, not really. But it is thoroughly entertaining. The dubbing in it, and this is all going to be stuff, these next few bullet points are probably going to be things that just, I wouldn't be surprised if Sean starts watching this like before we end this show. The dubbing in this, there is like no attempt to sync it up to someone talking. Like there will be moments where they have like 2-3 sentences of dialogue and people's mouths aren't even moving. They're just standing there like not talking at all, but there's plenty of dubbing coming out. Fucking amazing. I think my favorite death in this movie, this girl's all chewed up and naked. Her face is all slashed up and stuff because, the Ratman got her. doctor comes in to do the autopsy, and he's like, oh no, she died of a heart attack. And they show her body laying on this like cadaver table, and her face has this giant gash in it. And they're like, yeah, no, it was a heart attack. I'm like, yeah, clearly all these chewed upness, heart attack. That's what it is.
She was attacked by a heart.
Yeah. Again, they start giving this guy powers. Like, he's basically the Ratman is basically like a super rat that's about probably 2 feet tall with venom, which I'm not a rat expert, but I don't think they have venom, but this one does. It's treatable. Like, there's no
antidote.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. No antidote for it. And they never really say what they call him a hybrid at some point. Like, at some point they say like this guy is like the result of some genetic bullshit 1988 testing, whatever that might be. So they call him a hybrid, but they never really say a hybrid of what, just rat. So it is pure 1988 trash cinema in all its glory. And it is I was extremely entertained. It's not the kind of good that's going to win an award, but it is absolutely the kind of good that is at home on this type of show. So definitely I highly recommend the Ratman.
I heard they based that movie off the Misfits song Hybrid Moment.
Did they?
Yep.
So
they listened to that song and they're like, let's make him a hybrid.
You know what? Let's go for it. I do remember the line in that song where he says Ratman bites the supermodel on the vagina and
has a heart
Misfits
attack
stuff. Yeah.
Horror business.
She has a heart attack, not the Ratman.
Right.
Ratman doesn't have a heart attack.
He doesn't even have a heart.
It's a hybrid heart. Who needs it? So the newer movie I watched is new by like, I guess our standards, from 2023. So I'm calling that new. It is named Debbie Does Demons. And this movie is the only person you're really going to, anyone would really recognize in this is Jessa Flux. She's in Murder Size, which we saw recently. She's in Only Bangs, which I'm sure we'll be talking about as soon as we can. And she's pretty fun. She spends 99% of this movie just tits out naked, which should be no surprise if you saw Murder Size. Just kind of walking around. The whole premise of this movie is that at the beginning of the movie, they summon some demon, and then they're basically using like a basic cable access, like spook show type chick who's named Debbie. They think that she's going to help them get rid of said demon. Things in this is like the 2023 version of Shot on Chidio as far as quality. Like, I don't think this is shot on a phone. The quality looks like the video quality looks a little bit lower than that. So I think it's some kind of actual camera as opposed to a phone being shot on it. Frankly, if they used a phone, I think it might look a little bit better, whatever that's worth. But that kind of gives it a little bit of a charm at the same time. The cuts in transition in this, like when they go from scene to scene, hard black screen for like half a second to the next scene every single time. There's no like, not that you see dissolves and shit like that in movies or whatever, but it's jarring how like much these cuts are, and it's kind of entertaining. I think it's really funny because they shoot a scene. There's 2 different scenes in this graveyard, one at the beginning of the movie and one at the end of the movie. And I'm sure they did it all on the same day, because why the fuck would we go somewhere twice? In the early scene, she's running around, the demon, Jessa Flux, is running around there, tits out for everyone to see. She might not even have her like thong on that she has for most of the movie at that point. When they go back later to the graveyard, again, presumably the same time, when they recorded it, she now has a bra on and the panties are very visible. And I'm like, I bet you some old gravedigger came out there and was just like, what the hell are you doing? You can't be out here all naked and demoning and shit. So they probably had to compromise because of like, a yard crew or something is what I'm assuming. The movie is utterly ridiculous. It's exactly what you expect from this level of movie. So I don't want to like judge it harshly, because I feel like if you're comparing it to Citizen Kane, you're just asking to be annoyed, But I'd be lying if I said it wasn't at least a little bit of fun. It's schlocky, it's cheesy, it's obviously a very, very low to no budget movie. For an hour and 10 minutes, I can think of a hell of a lot worse ways to spend my time. So yeah, that's on Tubi also. Debbie Does Demons.
You think they filmed it with a jitterbug?
Is that a camera of some sort?
The phone. Like the one with the big ass.
Oh, is that one of those? Is that one of those you're supposed to give your kid or something so they can only call it you and the police?
Senior. a senior citizen.
So they can call like you and the police or something like that.
Medical alert.
That sounds right.
Ambulance.
So yeah, we can go with that. Either way, I had fun with it. I was not mad that I put it on. And again, it's got all the gratuitous, like, you know, boobery that you expect out of a movie like that. It's called Debbie Does Demons. You didn't go into it expecting to see nothing, right? But yeah, that was the main things that I kind of got through this week. Oh, I did rewatch Caddyshack 2 for some reason, and I'm not going to say anything about that other than it is just as fucking bad as you have heard or remembered or whatever your experience is with Caddyshack 2 hasn't changed.
It's still Caddyshack 2.
It's aging like fine milk. Yeah. Got anything else you want to talk about before we move on to Saving Christmas with a pitchman named Ernest?
No, I'm good. Let's go.
All right, Vern, we'll be right back. We're going to talk about Ernest Saves Christmas. Hey, John here. We recently conducted a survey of 500 senior citizens, and 499 of them said they would rather listen to any podcast other than the Dewey Pod Monster. We're here today to talk to the one. This is Crazy Balls Johnson. Crazy Balls, what do you like about the Dewey Pod Monster podcast?
I love that you guys are always balls to the wall, living life on the edge, talking about bullshit movies that everyone else hates. But I eat that shit up like a pig in slop.
You heard it here, folks. You can eat that shit up like a pig in slop, too, along with all the other fine podcasts at yourunpodcast.com. All right, so we're back, and it's now the Christmas season, and we're going to start off by talking about the absolute most movie of a movie we could talk about, Ernest Saves Christmas. I don't know why this is the first Ernest movie we picked. We'll get into memories of Ernest at some point, but we're going to start with a third-party review, and this one is an anonymous review. And this person says, Ernest Saves Christmas is the story of a misguided meth head with an inexplicable talent for impressions who teams up with a bratty runaway and a deranged old man to cause lots of property damage, sink an entire movie studio, and confuse a sad and lonely man, and even seemingly kill a couple people. Oh, and I guess they save Christmas somewhere in there, too. 1.5 out of 5 stars. Sean, can you cobble that into a actual description of this film, or did I go too far?
I hate myself. So for that, we go over to IMDb and we type in the words Ernest Saves Christmas. We pull up
it's gonna be a real short episode, kids.
1988 movie. It's got a PG rating. It's an hour and 31 minutes. It gets a 5.7 out of 10 with 14,000 ratings. And we go to the thing that they write up on the top of IMDb.com. Never quite sure if it's a storyline or the plot, but they wouldn't put it on the top if they didn't want you to read it first. This one says, Ernest helps Santa Claus as he searches for his successor. And then if we scroll on down straight and to the point, I love it. We get this storyline from Madcap. And Madcap says, Ernest P. Worrell, a sweet but silly taxi driver who at times suffers delusions of grandeur, has just chauffeured a rather extraordinary fare. His great red oneness, the Claus himself. It seems Santa hasn't got the magic for another Christmas season and has come to Orlando, Florida for Joe Carruthers, the man he has chosen as his successor. But things quickly begin to unravel thanks to Joe's meddling agent and Santa's increasingly unreliable memory. Incredibly, dim-witted Ernest soon becomes Santa's only hope. Joining forces with a young runaway named Harmony Star, Ernest rushes to save the holidays as we know them.
So I was going to offer a Cliff Notes, but it's basically the same thing as the, plot line or whatever the top is on this. So
no, the bottom.
Let's just get right. No, the one on the top, the one they said, whatever.
He's looking for the successor?
I don't care.
Oh, that thing, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, let's just get into it here. Who's in this movie? Is there anyone that we give a shit about?
Fuck my life. We have Jim Varney as Ernest P. Worrell. He is the original Slinky Dog from Toy Story. He played Jed Clampett in the Beverly Hillbillies movie. He studied Shakespeare, and he came up through the Comedy Store with Robin Williams, if that means anything to you. We have Douglas Seale, who played Santa. He was in Amadeus. He's a voice actor in The Rescuers Down Under. Fern Gully, he played Santa in another role on the Amazing Stories TV show. He had a 33-year break in acting, at least per IMDb, between 1949 and 1983. Weird. We have Oliver Clark, who plays Joe Carruthers. He's been in a lot of TV shows. I think his biggest role was probably in Saint Elsewhere as John Doe number 6. He was in 30 episodes as Dr. Furman in Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. And that's so old that I don't even know what that is. We have Noelle Parker. She plays Harmony, a.k.a. I think her actual name in the movie is Pam, and you find out that later. She played Amy Fisher in one of the multiple Amy Fisher movies. This one was called Amy Fisher, My Story. She was Veronica in the Clarks TV pilot. They made a TV pilot based on Clarks based on Clerks that Kevin Smith had no involvement in. And that'll be linked in the show notes because it's on YouTube.
I was like, Clarks? What the fuck is Clarks?
Yeah, the shoes, the desert boots and the wallabies and all that shit.
But that works too.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Clark bar.
So I have a little bit of history with the Ernest movies. Like I won't go as far to say that I grew up with them because that's definitely not the case.
That would explain a lot if he did.
I do remember finding moderate enjoyment out of the jail one and the Halloween one. This one, it kind of just blended into, like, I just assumed going into this, like, this is just going to be typical Ernest bullshit and, whatever. Probably have a couple funny, like, gags in it. It's a lot of that era of physical comedy, low expectations. And yeah, that's kind of what I got. Do you have any type of history with Ernest other than knowing? I'm sure you know of him, but like, were these in your home? Were these things that you had watched? Or?
Fuck no. My parents didn't allow any Ernest content in my home. No, the only thing I really remember,
that's good.
Like I knew before the movies, the like selling the milk and all that shit, like the seeing him on, commercials. And that was really what Ernest was, a vehicle to sell shit, right? He was a pitch man for everything. It's seemingly
all kinds of shit.
Yeah. So that's really, I only knew him from commercials, and then was like, oh, that Ernest guy, they're going to make movies. And this isn't the first Ernest movie, right? This is the second one.
This is the second one. Yeah.
What was
this
the first?
Is the most, I don't know, Ernest jerks off in a hallway or
anally
something.
Raped in prison.
I mean, that would have been better, but no, I think it was just Ernest goes to school or some shit like that.
That's what it is.
I don't want to see either of these. We could talk about it, but I don't want to see it.
Right.
So.
Theater of the mind.
So is there anything, did you come away with, I'm assuming this is the first watch for you. So did you come away with any positives on this? Or if it's not a first watch, I'm sure it's the first watch where you had to like actually watch it as opposed to sit there and get drunk and bitch about it. So
I have never
could have done that too. I don't care.
Yeah. So. I mean, might make it more interesting. I have never seen an Ernest movie. So this was the first Ernest paraphernalia propaganda that I've ever seen. I do have actually a couple likes. I will say that because this was filmed almost entirely in Orlando, Florida, it shows on every character. I noticed immediately. So Ernest, they describe him as he starts out as a cab driver in this movie, and he's driving his fare, the guy in the back seat, and that guy is sweating bullets. And Ernest his shirt is sweat stained from just leaking all the Orlando humidity out, and you can tell, like, it just looks hot as fuck, and it's supposed to be Christmas, and all these people are just sweating profusely. Ernest is sweating. He has sweat on his upper lip like almost the entire time. Santa Claus is sweating. Joe Carruthers is sweating. The girl doesn't look like she's sweating all that much, but they are sweating like fucking fiends when they are sweating. I want to say I like that there was a cameo from My Pet Monster. He was one of the toys that got taken out of the red Santa's big swollen red sack. And I sat almost.
You please, whatever you do with this episode, please leave Santa's swollen red sack in this recording.
It had these like really ropey cords all over it. It was just
it's getting better.
The biggest swollen red Santa sack that you could ever imagine. I wouldn't want it to hit me in the face, I'll tell you that much. So I sat mostly.
Looked a little furry too.
Yeah, had a little bit of fuzz on it. I sat pretty stone faced throughout this entire movie. Like I'm having more fun actually talking about it now and making, crude innuendo about it than I did actually watching this. But I got a good laugh so back it up a little bit. Ernest he finds Santa at the airport, and Santa is trying to find his successor, and he takes him to the children's hospital, or is it children's hospital or something, some children's museum or some shit. He takes him there, and he's trying to find Joe Carruthers. Joe Carruthers is this like TV personality who ran this children's show, and he
it's
just
like Mr. Rogers, but chubby.
Yeah, kind of, but shitty. And his show
Creepy
gets canceled after. Yes, extremely creepy looking. He gets fired, or his show gets canceled. And Santa's like, we've had all these candidates. Joe Carruthers is the best candidate to take over. Santa's only 150 years old, and he has to like pass the reins to somebody. He wants to give it to him. He gets thrown in jail because they basically think that this guy has dementia, or he's got Alzheimer's, or some kind of memory issue. Because
not a crime, by the way.
True. He thinks that he's Santa Claus, or they're like, you're not Santa. So they take him to jail, and he somehow gets out, and Ernest helps him out. Anyways, he goes to this studio because Joe Carruthers' agent is trying to get him into movies. He's got this perfect role for him. And Santa has to go to the movie theater, has to go to the movie studio, the lot where they're filming this movie. A lot of backup for me to tell you the one thing I fucking laughed about in this movie. But Ernest poses as a snake wrangler. Like on a movie set, he's the one that brings the snakes. He's the one that takes the snakes away. They throw all the fucking snakes. They're like, oh, you're the snake guy. He's like, yeah. And they throw all these snakes in the back of his truck, and Ernest makes a face. And I think this movie should really just be called Ernest Makes a Face. Like,
oh yeah,
Ernest makes a face at Christmas.
At least.
Ernest makes a face in prison. Ernest makes a face playing basketball. Ernest makes a face at summer camp. Like, I haven't seen any of these movies, but I'm assuming Ernest makes a face and you're supposed to laugh. I mean, I like Jim Varney, but this movie, that's about the end of my likes here. Santa's big swollen red sack, everybody sweating bullets. Oh, and Santa does have snowflake patterns on his fingerprints. That's pretty cool.
So I like that Ernest drives car number 69. I noticed that right off the bat. I thought that was kind of funny. In the start of this movie, we have a real Final Destination moment, which I just laugh at now because I've seen that Final Destination movie. Basically, Ernest is driving like a raging dick up the highway. A Christmas tree falls off of a tractor trailer of some sort, and Ernest, any horror fan at this point, probably not when this came out, because Final Destination was like 20 years after this, maybe not quite that much, 15 years after this. Any horror fan, though, wants that tree to just go right through the driver's side window and just annihilate Ernest. Yeah. It doesn't, shit ensues and whatever. But I like that it has that little Final Destination moment in it because it, as an adult, you look back and laugh at that. And I'm okay with the whole snake wrangler character and the whole, like, how that whole scene plays out. It's stupid. I don't want to go as far to call it lazy because there's plenty of lazy comedy in this, but it's also, this is a kid's movie. Yeah. Like, this is a kid's movie from 1988. It's not geared at making 40-year-old men laugh. It's geared at making like 4-year-old kids laugh. So you got to kind of take that with a grain of salt.
Exactly.
And in fairness, Ernest does a lot of like baby talk, like stupid face stuff, which, plays for kids, I guess. So, or at least
kids are stupid.
That. Probably wouldn't work now. Yeah, well, I don't know if they're dumber now or if they were dumb or dumb. Sounds smart to me. I also find it funny that throughout the movie, Ernest continuously fucks up the name of the reindeer. And the only reason I find that funny is because he, I think 3 or 4 times calls Blitzen Blister. Yeah. Which I thought was kind of comical. And I, like you, like it's hard to really have a lot of positive to say about this movie because, again, this is in a lot of ways, the definition of children's movie from the 80s that is made for kids set at Christmas time. I don't want to say it excuses everything in this movie because we've seen plenty of family movies over the years that are fun for adults too. But I mean, this obviously has a target demographic and we are not it. So
low IQ individuals and children.
With that in mind, we're going to switch gears and just kind of whatever you want to go from this point. And I'm going to just say right off the beginning, Ernest talks too fucking much. Like, Jesus Christ, if you were around, if this character, not Jim Varney, if this character was a real person, how many times a week would this guy just be punched in the mouth because he never shuts up?
I don't like the fact that, you say punching people. I don't like the fact that Santa Claus punches somebody in this movie. Like, what the fuck, Santa?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be punching people.
As long as we're saying, what the fuck, Santa? Let's start. Why do you fly to Florida and have your reindeer and your sleigh shipped to Florida?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. That seems like a waste of money. And where is the flight originating from?
Oh, true.
Is there an airport at the North Pole?
Okay, you bring up the airport thing. The thing I'm going to kind of pick a little bit. I don't understand why so many people are coming through customs. Like everybody that comes to the airport has to have their passport stamped. Why? Mm-hmm. You go between state lines. You fly into Orlando in 1988. You got to have your passport. It's a different country.
Yeah, I'm no air traffic controller, but I'm guessing, let's just say for the sake of argument, there is an airport in the North Pole. Okay. I'm willing to bet there's a layover somewhere between the North Pole and Orlando.
In the U.S.?
Somewhere. Maybe Canada, maybe the U.S.
You'd have to go to customs in Canada and then the U.S.
Either way. But what? So
sorry,
it continues to get dumb. I also, well, yeah. You were going to say something. I lost my train of thought, so go right ahead.
There's another thing. Like Santa he's kind of all knowing, right? He knows when you've been sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. Like he can see you all the time. So there's a scene where the girl, Harmony Star, which sounds like a stripper name, she runs off with Santa's bulging, fuzzy, red, swollen sack. And she's running away from him, and he doesn't know where it is.
Ropes of whatever.
Yeah, big ropey veins on it. Like how does he not know where she is? Like he can see all this shit. Lots of flaws in the Santa Claus logic here.
We're going to come back to that.
The other thing,
we're going to come back to Harmony because I have all kinds of issues and complaints about Harmony, and we will also come back to Santa logic too. But
do you have a complaint that Ernest is housing a underage runaway girl in his home, and she stays in his house, and that's okay? And it seems like it's okay.
And she kisses him, and Santa encourages it.
Yes, it's just real creepy vibes
their whole relationship is incredibly questionable. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, what the fuck was Disney thinking back in 1988?
The part that really kind of disturbed me is when Santa's in jail and Ernest takes Harmony to jail and poses as like a state official. And they take him, and she's dressed like a schoolgirl, and they take her into the jail cell with like hardened criminals. And it's just I think it's more of like it could be county
I think it's
jail.
Supposed to be like a drunk take or something, like because these are all people in street clothes, but they also have like bunks and like posters and shit up there. So it's not like any holding cell I've ever sat in. I can tell you that. So,
it's a privatized prison it's for-profit prison.
But as long as we're on Santa logic, why? There's all kinds of Santa logic that doesn't make sense in this. So Santa repeatedly praises Ernest as being a good guy. In the course of this movie, I couldn't even count how many like traffic citations Ernest would have, which could involve everything from like speeding to attempted vehicular manslaughter. We've already mentioned an inappropriate relationship with a minor, and however you want to word that. He fraudulently uses that minor to release a prisoner from a jail, which is a felony.
Should be.
He commits several. Yeah, there's a lot of crimes that Ernest commits in the name of saving Christmas, which let's not even get into how Ernest doesn't really do shit as far as saving Christmas. He just happens to be there, which might be one of the movie's stronger points, is that Ernest is actually more the B plot as opposed to everything else in this movie, but I digress. Ernest in this movie would be squarely on the naughty list, if not in fucking that holding cell for a bevy of fucking problems. And while we're on the subject of Santa logic still, why the fuck do you wait till December 23rd to fly to Florida and pick this TV star to maybe give him your job? If this is so imperative, isn't that like a January task for aging Santa? Like, don't you start that then? So if you get down there and Joe's like, fuck you, Santa, I want to,
do hookers,
do hookers and do
underage girls,
shitty horror movies and all that, whatever. At least you have 11 more months to figure out, okay, well, maybe this Joe guy wasn't such a good choice.
He's stealing all the nudie mags out of the bag. Bastard. Those are for Santa.
Well, Santa's magic is also questionable in this. So what about you? What else do you hate about this movie? Or is it just Santa logic being bullshit?
I think that this is Ernest. This is Jim Varney's Eddie Murphy of kids movies, right? He's like trying to just dress up in all these different characters. And I know that it was a common thing, or it was like it was part of his shtick for the commercials and things that he was a spokesperson for, to speak to the camera, to break the fourth wall. You know, what's the
it's in all his
Vern?
movies too.
Yeah. Like Vern is the audience, and I don't know. It's just, he shows up in all these different disguises. He's using all these different voices. That's fine. Like, whatever. But it felt like this was his coming to America. This was his, like, I'm going to try and break out as many Robin Williams isms. Is that how you say that? He's just going to be high as fuck. And he's just going to come out here, and he's going to be the old lady, and he's going to be the snake wrangler guy. Just all this shit. I don't know. Joe Carruthers is a shithead. He's hired for a Christmas movie. It's a horror movie. He wants them to take out all the naughty
Basically,
language.
the creature in the black. It's like the creature in the Black Lagoon covered in tinsel.
Yeah, but it's like the concept is like Creature from the Black Lagoon combined with Silent Night, Deadly Night, and he wants the violence and the language taken out. It's like, dude, your agent fucking sucks. He didn't tell you what you're auditioning for. You don't have any bargaining
you suck
power.
for not looking at, or you suck for not reading the script before you said, yes, I'll do this.
Yeah. The other last big dislike, I'm going to say, it has something to do specifically with the ending of the movie. Pamela, the girl, Harmony Star, the stripper, she's been running in this movie. She's running to catch up to Santa and Ernest. Like, oh, Ernest, Santa, wait. Catches up to him, raggedy breath, and you can hear the phlegm in her throat. Can you cough? Can you clear your throat? How did this make it into the movie? Couldn't they just
want to cough up all that, Ernest? That needs to be there for the sequel.
Their big red sack got a lot smaller. It just like, come on. Can you clear your throat? Can some audio person, like, can you cut out the coughing, the wheezing, the hacking, all this phlegmy shit? Just cut that out. I don't need to hear it. Rest my case.
So while we're on the subject at the end of the movie, I don't understand if all Santa has to do to make Joe Santa is shake his hand, and then the magic like bukakis him into being Santa.
Yeah.
How come he doesn't just shake his hand the second he meets him? Hey, Joe, nice to meet you. Put your hand out and problem over. You know, you're Santa now.
Do you want to know why?
Fucko. Because the movie has to happen.
The movie has to be an hour and 30 minutes. We should rename this podcast to the movie has to be an hour and 30 minutes. That'd be a perfect subtitle.
It's a reoccurring theme.
Yes. You start to see it everywhere. You start to see that a movie needs to be an hour and 30 minutes everywhere when you notice it.
Sorry I said it. So
no, it's true.
The other thing I think is kind of funny, there's a woman in this movie older lady, her name's, I don't need to see this because we won't get the cast. Her name's Mary in the movie. And you see her early in the movie and her husband's like there and a husband and saying something like, come on, honey. He's basically telling her to get home or some shit like that. Fast forward to the end of the movie after Santa gives his Santa seed to Joe. She immediately is on that Santa dick. Like no lag between jobs. She's just like, all right, let's go. Let's take these 150-year-old balls and
drain them,
purge them into, yeah. And just to go on with that. So if Santa's 150 years old, once he transfers his Santa cocky to someone else, how does he age from there? Does he go from like 150 to like dead?
Yeah, he turns into dust.
Right. Like
a stiff breeze.
How long does he just live indefinitely as a 150-year-old guy who's banging Mary from accounting who left her husband for Santa?
Maybe.
Or former Santa? I don't know. The questions are endless and really not worth answering. Let's just fire up the ground.
Well, I want one more thing. I want to say one more. I said I rest my case. I lied. This movie makes no sense at all. Like it really, I don't know I realize what shipping the reindeer have to do with it, but that whole like non sequitur that they keep going to, the two shipping guys and the one guy like who looks like Bert from Bert and Ernie, and you can't understand what the fuck he's saying. And I'm not quite sure if he's actually saying anything because nothing that he says, he's not saying V, he's not saying letters or whatever.
They go back to the show that Ernest, they're a reoccurring character played by different actors in the majority of the movies. Like these two guys are in, I think, 3 of the movies, Chuck and Bobby. And there's 3 of the movies that they're in. And after and before that, they kind of interchange them both kind of randomly. There's always a fat guy and there's always a skinny guy. It's kind of like a Laurel and Hardy type gimmick that they do with it. And I think the only reason why they're in there, is because it was already established in the lore of Ernest that they're like the Lenny and Carl to Ernest. They're there, but they're not the main characters.
So Gaylord Sartain, who plays the fat one, sorry for any fat people out there, he was, so he was in Hey Vern, It's Ernest. He was in Ernest Saves Christmas. He was in Ernest Goes to Jail. And it looks like he wasn't really in any of the Ernest stuff. I honestly thought that was Glenn Shaddix, the guy who is in Beetlejuice, who plays Otho, like the guy who helps. You've seen Beetlejuice.
Wrong guy. But I'm not a Tim Burton fan. I haven't seen him forever. So I don't know.
Definitely wrong guy because that guy's dead. But I, for some reason, thought that's who. I'm like, man, he's not in the credits at all. That's totally crazy. Why is he not in there? But now that makes sense because it ain't him.
Then you're in for a big treat, bro, because it's hot dog time.
So I'll start us off because why not? No, this is not a good movie. It's as an adult, it's very hard to watch, and as an adult, it fucking sucks. I don't even think that a kid, like a current a child now, would watch this movie and enjoy it. I think like a person who is the age this is targeted at would look at this and be like, where's Mario? Where's the Avengers? Where's exactly.
Blue Ribbon.
I know there's a large portion of the internet that has a soft spot for this movie because of nostalgia. And I think that's the only way that you're going to get any joy out of this movie in 2025 is if you were forced to watch this as a child and you want to relive your trauma. We all do it. So I'm going to go on a limb and say this is, for anyone of rational mind, a zero hot dog movie. If you remember loving Ernest, I'll give you like a half a hot dog just to kind of feed the nostalgia machine. But for anyone else, just go watch go watch Debbie Does Demons. It will fix all your problems.
Whose hot dog is this? Huh? Is it yours?
So I was 11 years old when this came out, and I think at that point I was probably already too old for it. And this would probably be okay for kids. I think like 8 and under is even probably stretching it. It's probably more like the 7-6-year-old and under kind of demographic age range or whatever. But man, this was such a tough watch. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's not great. And it's really nonsensical, super convoluted, just doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know how you could expect a kid to watch this movie and make heads or tails out of any of it. And that's probably why there's so much of the mean mugging, like the faces and all that shit. Like Ernest makes a face, like I mentioned earlier. The whole reindeer subplot feels shoehorned in to complete like a Santa story. This is another example, as we mentioned earlier, of I've heard a movie's supposed to be an hour and a half, the new title of the show. I guess if you're looking for a way to keep your kid out of your hair for like an hour and 30 minutes while you take a nap, this movie might be good for that, but they have to be of a certain age. And if they're past that age, they're going to just hate you for the rest of their lives. So don't even bother. Like, I give Ernest Saves Christmas 0 hot dogs. I would rather starve than watch this movie again. I find no redeeming value whatsoever in this film. Film is a compliment to this pile of filth. Santa's red sack, underage with a minor, fucking underage with a minor. Cohabitation with an underage girl that's not related to you.
Well, again, it's a product of its time. Like, there's so many movies that went straight to video that have this level of storytelling.
But this was in the theater.
There's plenty of movies that went to theaters like that too. It doesn't excuse it. It doesn't help it age any better. But here we are.
We're starving.
Are we?
Yeah, 0 hot dogs.
We ate pretty good last week. We had all the hot dogs last week.
That was last week.
How would you feel about Machete like showing up in this movie?
If he doesn't help, then it's fine.
Define help.
Does he assist Ernest in his quest to
define assist?
Does he not hurt Ernest?
No.
Or Santa?
Then, yeah.
Or Joe Carruthers. Who, by the way, Joe Carruthers, he shaves his beard.
What if he becomes Santa?
That would be fine. Joe Carruthers shaves his beard. Santa gets all fucking disappointed. The guy is fucking scary as shit without a beard. And he has 5 o'clock shadow. Like instantly after he shaved his beard. I'm not that guy. Like I have a pretty decent beard. I'm not that guy. He looks fucking scary. Joe Carruthers, he's Art the Clown level scary looking when he takes that beard off.
I thought he looked like a combination of Paul Sorvino and John Wayne Gacy.
Great combination.
So not great.
Another clown.
So we did make an attempt at a question of the week, and we only got about a total of 4 words and answers. So I'm going to go ahead and just say that, for question of the week this week, it was a failure. Maybe we'll go back to that, but it's seeming like that is dying its own natural death. So maybe we'll just have to conjure up some new way to do something else at the end of the show, but it's not going to be this week. So this is going to be a short episode because Ernest is, shitty.
Makes me want to kill myself.
I believe the correct way to say it is unalive myself. It's 2025, and this is a kids episode, apparently.
I want to know, question of the week. Let us know if any kids, if you're listening to this with your kids, please don't. You should love your children. Like, don't subject them to this shit. I mean, Ernest mostly, but,
I was going to say, are you referring to Ernest or are you referring to
I'm
us?
referring to the new show. A movie is supposed to be an hour and 30 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I think it's about, that's all I got. So I'm going to go through the usual here. If you would like to follow us, you can do that. We are at all the usual suspected spots. You can follow us at Dewey Pod Monster on all the social medias, except for, of course, Blue Sky, where we are at crap.town. Please do go check out yourunpodcast.com. That is where you can find our friends on the network. You can find all the other great shows like Podcasts in the Woods. You can Eat That Crust, You Run Podcasts, and so many others are all available on there. Please go check them out. You can find all of our stuff there too if you want. We're on all the major podcast platforms. Leave us a review. We would appreciate that. And if you would like to leave us feedback more directly, you can go to our site. It's crap.town. You can find all of our episodes there as well, even the ones that Spotify tends to fuck up. It's all available for you. No charge yet. Sean, what else we got going on?
I was going to say, if you are interested in any of the things that we talked about on the show today, including Ernest Saves Christmas or Christmas for Ernest or whatever this fucking piece of shit's called, you can find it in the show notes. You can click those show notes. I don't know any other happy, holly jolly motherfucking show in the universe that gives so much free content. Like, we link all the stuff we talk about in the show notes. We try to make it free. There's I would say on average, we have 6 hours of free content that we link to in the show notes. If you're not checking those out, you're only hurting yourself. You're not hurting me. You're hurting yourself. And why would you deprive yourself? So there are some of those links. I will admit they say Amazon next to them. Those are affiliate links. But you know what the great part is about that? If you go and you click it, if it says Amazon, you can go about your regular day and buy your Ernest dolls and your whatever you buy. It doesn't cost you a goddamn thing, but we get a small cut of the money that you give to Amazon, maybe a few cents, maybe a few tenths of a percent, hundreds of a percent. I'm not really quite sure how much we get because we don't get that much. But if you went there and did the thing, we'd get a little bit more, and that would help the show out. If you also want to help the show out, leave a review, tell your friends about it. Leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. Tell your friends, say, hey, these guys talked about Ernest Saves Christmas and you hate yourself, so you should probably listen to this. I hate you too. Listen to the show. These guys hate themselves and they hate these movies. So you can find it, and that'd be pretty cool. And that's about all I got. You can find me on Blue Sky exclusively at internalbleeding.crap.town. That's at internalbleeding.crap.town on Blue Sky. John.
So that's it. I've now effectively ruined Sean's entire week because I'm going to go ahead and take the blame for not just this episode, but this entire podcast now, because everything has led up to Sean watching Ernest Saves Christmas, and I bet he can't wait for us to get to Ernest Scared Stupid whenever
episode 300.
Or Ernest Goes to Jail. Maybe we can get Ernest Goes to Oz. That would be really fun. That's it, though. Swell up, Butthorns. Have yourself a great week, and we'll be back with more holly jolly Christmas shenanigans on the next episode of I Heard Movies Were an Hour and a Half Long.
Bye. Bird season's over, Butthorn. Blah, blah, blah.
sorry.